came from the sea and told you Mr. Crocodile is sick, you don't say, I am going to the sea to verify for myself. In regard of the affidavit jointly sworn by Edna and Martin Kiplangat Cheruyot, the alligator that has come from the sea, symbolically speaking, and with due respect, is Edna. She has told us that affidavit is fake. That signature is not mine. How much more evidence do we need to discredit that affidavit? Then comes the other joint affidavit of the 18 MCS, on which, again, Edna's name is indicated. She has come from the sea and told us that affidavit is fake. I didn't sign it. Why would we believe anything from that affidavit? So that would be the approach, Majority Leader, distinguished senators, if I were confronted with that evidentiary question. But that is not enough. That is not enough. Consider the evidence of Amos Birir Trump, who is asked a simple question, Mr. Speaker. This affidavit you claim to have signed jointly, the 18 of you, what time did you sign it? Daytime or nighttime? He says he signed it after lunch. It turns out the assembly proceedings went on until past 8 p.m., and that affidavit contains proceedings of the assembly, meaning it could only have been signed in the night. Normal advocates would have closed their offices at that time. They would tell their clients to come back tomorrow. Can we believe that witness who says those things? I say this because what is before you is whether you have credible evidence to disturb the presumption of regularity of the county assembly's Hansard and resolution as communicated to you. Let's then look at this Amos Birir, the Trump. He came here as an old man, stated his age, and initially looked very credible, even to me, initially. When confronted by learned colleague, Mr. Mutuma, in cross-examination, I do not know what your assessment of him was. Let me just say, in my assessment, he struck me as an old man, yes, but not very honest. Simple facts as to whether he has an internet-enabled phone, whereas his affidavit gave us an impression that he had no internet-enabled phone, he was on WhatsApp. In fact, that number, which he said was in the phone he was carrying in this house, was itself on WhatsApp. I do not know how much more credibility you can give such a witness. He needs redemption in the area of credibility. If you sought my opinion, the verdict belongs to you as whether you would believe him. A witness called Hilary Kibet Bosuben confirmed that he had a laptop supplied to him by the county assembly. He confirmed to him that he used this integrated system. Remember, voting is just one of the components of this system, but this system discharges multiple other functions. He used this same system to make his requisitions for payment of allowances for committee sittings, to register his attendance at committee sittings. It's these same people who use this system to register their attendance in committee sittings who are saying they have never been trained on this system. Fortunately for us, none of them claim to be missing out on their sitting allowances because of this system. It's enabling them in their bread and butter matters. It is only when voting is concerned that they draw the line. I then pose the question, are these the people, distinguished senators, whom you will say that you believe them that they didn't vote? Because to disturb the verdict of this assembly, you must reach a conclusion that, in fact, these people did not vote for the motion. At that juncture, credibility becomes the most important question. As you consider this motion, distinguished senators, remember Geoffrey Bett. Geoffrey Bett appeared before you as a person living with a disability, a mobility-related disability. He poured his heart out to you. He told you, I have come before you as part of my healing process. He told you, this governor confronted me in a joint sitting of the CECs and COs. He told you, in that joint sitting of CECs and COs, when I was proposing to him that rather than procuring a financial management system at 68 million shillings, we can internally develop it at about 1 million shillings and prudently use taxpayers' money. He told me, I thought you only had a physical disability of your limbs. Kumbe, you also have a mental disability. Those were the words of Geoffrey Bett here. Geoffrey Bett has told you, I have come to this Senate as part of my healing process. I want you to consider Geoffrey Bett as you vote. Will your vote to rescue this governor aid Geoffrey Bett in healing? Or will your vote to save this governor add insult to injury to Geoffrey Bett? That issue is on trial before the Senate. Given a chance to take the witness stand, defend himself, and possibly address Geoffrey Bett wherever he is, and say, Geoffrey Bett, before this same forum you sit, I am sorry for what I did to you. The governor has chosen not to take that stand. Allegations of financial impropriety, particulars of which were laid before you by various witnesses and documents, and which have been summarized by the learned counsel who came before me, are clear that Kericho County is hemorrhaging in loss of public funds. The governor had two opportunities. One, to get his concerned officers, CECs, COs, procurement officers, to swear affidavits and shed light on these matters. I invite you to reach a conclusion that the failure of the governor to call those witnesses to come before you and give account constitutes his shielding of those witnesses. A governor who shields witnesses who spend taxpayers' money, as we showed you on the Kipkelion housing saga, who shields his officers who spend money, as we showed you, in respect of the Londiani unfortunate accident victims, cannot claim it is not my act. He must take the ultimate responsibility, at least for shielding those officers. Secondly, given a chance to come and take the witness stand and explain himself, because the evidence we have shows irrefutable evidence of hemorrhaging of public funds, he has declined to take the witness stand. I invite you to conclude that the act of the governor to refuse to take the witness stand, when the time there showed that the governor still had slightly over 30 minutes of his defense, is an act of arrogance on his part, not warranting any mercy from you. If you take all these factors into consideration, my invitation would be, you can only do one thing, the right thing: impeachment of this governor. The County Assembly of Kericho has done its part. The Hansard of this house, as a historical record, will document that. Fortunately for me, the check is still open for you to sign. The history book is still open for you to record your position in that history. The Hansard is still recording you. It will record your vote. Distinguished senators, how will history document you individually and collectively regarding the side of history you belong to? The side that dignifies Geoffrey Bett, or the side that undignifies him? The side that protects taxpayers' money, or the side that does not. I am done with my part. The ball is in your court. I rest my case.
Counsel for the Governor, the floor is yours. And your 60 minutes start running from now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable senators, my colleague, for the record, my name is Wajiko Diongo. I will commence the closing argument, then my two colleagues will come thereafter. Honorable senators, our point of departure is the sequence of events as prescribed under Section 33 of the County Governments Act. And definitely, as we sit here, it's not in dispute that the County Assembly has the jurisdiction, the first jurisdiction or the first instance in moving a motion for the impeachment of the governor. However, Mr. Speaker, in doing so, they must do so within the confines of the law and the edicts of the Constitution. They must adhere, in the very least, to Article 10, the principles and values of governance, and must do so within the provisions of Article 181. Therefore, before this House can admit this motion, it must then be satisfied, as we raised in our preliminary objection, that the threshold of the 2/3 majority of the Assembly was met. But in determining this question, serious issues have been raised on what transpired in the Assembly on that day, Mr. Speaker. Several clips, videos have been played in this House on what transpired. And what can be seen is that from those videos and the picture which has been painted is that for the first time, the Kericho County Assembly introduced electronic voting system. The MCAs had never been trained about this system. It has not been controverted by our colleagues from the side of the Assembly. It's also in addition that it is on the floor of that motion that the Speaker of the Assembly informed the MCAs Speaker. And looking at that system and the various questions by the honorable senators, it's clear that the system had serious doubts. There were serious issues of manipulation, and the three ICT experts, as they came here, they could not clarify or clear the doubts which were raised by the senators. There was issues which were raised about the geographical location of the particular votes. And as we stand here, every vote could not have been linked to the geographical location? And the answer is one. The configuration or the manner in which the system has been set does not secure the votes. Mr. Speaker, it is also admitted, it's not disputed, that on the material day, I have heard the counsel for the governor indicate that the username is like the email address, and the password was unique, but in this case, it was an ID number. How many times do we sign with our ID numbers when called upon? It is clear from the list of even the laptops that was applied to them that they had to write their own ID numbers. As they sign various registers, Mr. Speaker, they had to indicate the ID numbers. So what is unique about the ID numbers when we talk about a password? And it is clear from the 3 ICT experts that the two-factor authentication or the multi-factor authentication was not created for this system, so that every particular vote can be linked to the MCA. Also at the same time, from the Hansard at page 195 of the governor's Bado, the Speaker himself of the Assembly publicly announced that the ID number is the password. So it was no longer a secret of what the password was, Mr. Speaker. And at the same time, issues arose about whether the MCAs had brought the tools of trade, particularly the gadgets which were required to conduct business. But as it has been shown, is for the first time they were going to use electronic voting. No prior notice had been given to the MCAs, and that was declared on the floor.